Well, how y'all doing tonight? Hope y'all having a blessed night. So I'm about to marinate me up some roasted spiced chicken. So I roasted this chicken the other day with some onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and some black pepper. And I'm going to put it on to marinate, right? And I lived in Canada for like 12 years, and they had these little places that were much like subways, and they were all over the place, especially in the rest areas. I've been from one end of Canada to the other, in some of the islands as well. And one of my favorite wraps, they made wraps, they didn't make sandwiches, they made wraps, was a marinated chicken wrap. So I'm going to take some of this roasted chicken and I'm going to marinate it overnight. Again, hang on to your glass jars. They're getting harder and harder to find. And so I'm going to marinate up some of this chicken. I'm going to be adding some uh, spicy chili sauce to that and some Italian dressing, zesty. Now, the only difference in Italian dressing and zesty Italian dressing is that they put more spices and stuff in the zesty. I should be making my own. I need to really get back to making my own. I'm going to put some garlic powder, onion powder, and some pesto in there, some black pepper, and give it a good shake. All right, so I've mixed up everything in there that I mentioned that I was going to put in there and stirred it up. And I have my roasted chicken here, and I'm going to cut that up in small pieces and put it in there. I don't want to shred it, I want to chunk it. And I'm going to stir that all up, give it a good shake, and let it sit overnight. And what I'll do with that is I'll make a wrap with it, like lettuce, tomato, onions, what have you, and then the marinated chicken, maybe a little mayonnaise, all right? Now, I've had people come on my channel and say, well, how much of this do you put in there? You know, you're not saying how much of that do you put in there. The thing of it is, that is somebody that is just starting out cooking, okay? Because you follow those recipes like they were the last breath you were going to take when you're first starting out cooking. But as you get older, you learn to add a little of this, add a little of that, take a little of this out. If you don't like it, put a little bit of something in there. That's the measure of a good cook, okay? And you taste it and see if it needs anything else, right? And then I had somebody else come on my channel and say, you make your recipe so easy. Well, it is what it is. When you start cooking, even if you follow a recipe, you're gonna tweak it. You really are. You're gonna decide whether it needs more sugar, more pepper, more vinegar, what have you. You're gonna tweak that recipe. So, really, that's a measure of a good cook. It's not about following recipes in a book. You might do that when you first start out, but you're going to eventually change it around to fit your taste and your needs. So I'm going to chop some of this up and put it in that jar. All right, so I got my chicken in there with all that other mixtures that I mentioned beforehand. And I have this leftover roasted chicken, which is spiced already. I'll probably make a small batch of chicken and soup with that. And with this, I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it sit overnight. Now, when we went into these little establishments, and again, they were almost like a Subway, only they only dealt with wraps. And this was one of my favorite things was the marinated chicken. So you get the biggest flour tortilla you can get. Put put down some lettuce, or I like fresh spinach myself. Uh, Tomatoes, onions, pickles if you want, and cheese and the marinated chicken. Wrap that up, and you got yourself a wrap, right? And this was one of my favorites. Again, this was one of my favorites, and so that's what I'm making tonight. I'm marinating up some chicken, and I'm going to use this for some homemade chicken noodle soup, right? So thanks for stopping in. I hope this gave you an idea. It's really easy. I mean, you can make that and put it in the fridge for a couple of days. Let it marinate for a couple of days. Cooking batches. I've been making videos where you cook in batches. Make a whole lot of chicken, a whole lot of pork, a whole lot of beef, and use it within 3 or 4 days. You can get creative with it, right? So that's what I'm doing. Anyway, thanks for stopping in. I hope this gave you a good idea. I mean, this is good for, make yourself a wrap and take it to work with you. Have some when you get home from work. Make a wrap, right? It's healthy for you. It really is. Thanks for stopping in, for your thumbs up, for your comments. Large and small, I appreciate them all. Y'all have a blessed night. Bye-bye.